Hello, Jovan. How do you get consistent shots with different eye colors? I think, there are only three people, but I think we can start. So, I've got already a few questions that I received by email from some of you, so I will answer them later. But first, I will answer the question that you can ask in the chat. So, how do I get consistent shots with different eyes color? First, you got to understand that each eye is absolutely unique and there's no two eyes that have exactly the same color. But with the flash system that I use, I'm basically setting up like the parameters for blue iris, brown iris, and green iris. So I don't use the same power with the brown iris as with the blue one. And this is basically how I do it. And also, like, you can play with the white balance, because if you have, let's say, so I use like 5,600 Kelvin, I think, with my white balance, which is basically flashlight. And if you use, for example, colder colors with the white balance, then it's going to be better for blue eyes, but not for brown eyes, because with the brown eyes, you want a more vibrant color, more colorful. So it really depends on like what eye you are shooting. If that answers your question, let me know if you have any other question. Okay, so if you have any other question, just type in the chat and I will try to answer them. But for now, I'll just answer the question that I received by email. So first, I received a question like, do I need a very expensive camera to do aerosphotography? I would say that yes and no. No, in the sense that you don't need the most expensive camera to do aerosphotography, but of course, like, you will need a high quality one. You cannot expect to like get a 50 euros camera and get like very good picture with it. But yes, you need like a good DSLR, and of course like the macro lens that go with it. So yeah, that's for this question. So of course, like in any business, you need like an initial investment to make it work. Now I had like another recurring question that I had like a lot, which is, franchises use a box. Is it necessary? Um, that is true that most franchises, I think, yeah, all of them, they use box around their system. And I think they do this for three main reasons. The first one is, of course, like they want to reduce the light glare, like on the ice picture. And the truth is that it's not completely removing all the lights that you'll have in the eyes, because I've seen like many times, let's say, for example, like iMazy, like a few shops, they posted some pictures on Instagram of pictures of brown eyes, and there were as many reflections as I've got with my system. So I'm not sure like if the box works really well. Like I have tried many times to put, like once we use like with a black tissue above like the head. Like we tried many things with my friends and my family, like at first when I started. And yeah, you always kind of get like reflection in the eyes. It really depends on the person's eyes. Like sometimes I can have like a blue eye with no reflection at all, and sometimes like some with more. And same with the brown eye, it's like very like you cannot tell in advance. It's always kind of like a surprise, like when you're taking the picture of the person. Still, there are like lots of stuff you can do to avoid reflections. Of course, if the person has the eye that is not like opened wide enough, of course it's going to reflect more the eyelashes, the eyelid, etc., etc. So usually, like, when people struggle with like the bottom of the iris, I just ask to pull a little bit down the eyelid, but not too much, otherwise it's gonna like pull this part too. That's something you can do. Then you can play with the tilt of the head. That helps a lot. So that is like the first reason, I think, why franchises are using boxes. Then the second reason is like very obvious. They want to make it look like it's Um, Hold on, have you tried using the Raynox macroscope lens? Raynox macroscope lens? No. Is it like the um, hold on, I'll just type Raynox microscopic lens. Oh yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't advise to use this. No, just like go with a macro lens. Those like tubes are not. You will never get like the same sharpness as you will get like with the proper macro lens. So it's better to invest a little bit at first. Yeah, I don't recommend those. And just so what I was telling about the franchises using boxes, I think it is because they want to make it look like it's some patent technology, like a medical instrument you would find in an optician or something like that. Many people, when they come in the shop, they're like, "Oh, like you don't have the machine, etc., etc." And I'm like, "No, actually, like the machine is actually always the same. It's always like a camera, a macro lens, and the lighting system. And so, yeah, it's very important to keep this in mind. Like every franchise, they don't use like the same brands of the camera, etc., but they always have the same equipment in the boxes. So, like, if you want to look like there is some kind of technical woo woo, yeah, you can put the box. Also, it can be cool, like for the branding, like you can put on the side of the box, you can put your logo, or you can put like a big iris. So definitely, but for myself, I like to keep it just with the camera and the two flash because first, like it helps me to have more flexibility. I can show you like very quickly. It's just here. Like the advantage is that sometimes with some eyes I get more reflections, and so with those flash with tripods I can just move them around and yeah to just adjust and trying to get less reflections. That's like first thing. Like you're gonna do this the same way if you have a box. And then the second thing is that I don't want to kind of lie to people. Like they come in the shop, what we do is photography. So like I want to show that it's like a camera and a tripod and a macro lens, etc. And I know there are lots of people who come in the shop and they want to copy what I do. But if you don't connect all the pieces together and try to run it as a proper business, if you just do this like you know, as a side hustle only on Sundays, then it's not going to work. It's something you have to make it like very professional. Hello, Mike. IND. Did you ever have any fears in the beginning that the flash might damage a client eyesight? Yes, of course. That was honestly one of my main concern. And the thing is that I started with no flash at all because I thought it was too dangerous for the eyes. So I started with like maybe 10 to 15 different lighting system. Like I literally went to the photography shop in my city and bought like a few different ones. I ordered some on AliExpress, other on Amazon, and I had all the time the same problem is that when you do aristography, because you want to make a huge print, you want the highest sharpness possible, and for that you need to put the ISO in 100. Otherwise, like if you put 800 or more, then you will have grain and not enough detail in the picture. So the ISO at 100, it influences all the other parameters. And I won't go too much in depth in this because we could talk about it like for a longer time. This is what I cover in the masterclass, but basically, because of the way the light needs to enter in the eye, and because of like the shallow depth of field that we have with irisography, um, that plays on the parameters, we need a lot of light coming in the eye. Like if you just do with um, just like a spotlight, you won't have enough light when you will take the picture. Otherwise, like you will have to play with your aperture and your speed, the shutter, and the parameters on the camera won't be good enough, like to take good pictures. So to get back to your question, sorry, I went a bit like everywhere, but so I figured out like very quickly that in order to have very good eyes picture, you absolutely need a flash. So when I discovered that, I was like, oh wow, so which flash should I use then? And at first, like I was trying to have one light to illuminate the eye, and then the flash to basically like take the picture then. And I tried like a few different flash. I figured out that I needed like xenon flash to basically replicate like the sunlight light spectrum. And at first, I didn't try on other people iris; it was on mine. I tried like hours and hours and hours and hours with different ones, and I came up like with those ones like the Godox AD300 Pro. And the advantage with those is that I show you quickly. It's like when you turn them on, first you can choose like the strength of the power, and also like you can have the focusing light, and in the same time, hold on, where is it? Yeah, and then you have like the flashlight. So yeah, so when I found those lights, I was like, okay, this is perfect because I have like the focusing light plus plus the flash, like all in the same lighting system. So that's like perfect. But then I was like, maybe it is like harmful for the eyes. I tried many times on mine, never had any problem. But then I went to see the optician in my village that I know and talked about it with him, and like he asked me to check the specifications, etc. Like how much is the maximum intensity of this flashlight? And the thing is, like flashlight power depends on how close it is to your eyes. So I would definitely not put the flashlight 5 centimeters like away from the eye, but here it's like 30. So like we compared, and like from 30 centimeters, if I put maximum power on this flash, which I never do, except like when I have very, very, very dark iris, then the intensity of the flash is at like 1/10 of what optician use. So just to tell you, like in 1 year and a half, I never ever had like one client who after the photo shoot was like, I don't know how you say in English, but like having those white lights in front of you when you're like kind of blurry vision, like never. But of course, like very often, like I take the pictures and people are like, "Whoa, that was intense," but then nothing more than that. So I am not a doctor. I have just checked with my local practitioner, etc., etc. They told me that it was okay, but then like same like if you use a specific lighting system, just go talk to professionals, ask them like if it's safe. But I touch wood. For now, I never had any issue, and never ever somebody I don't know tried to sue me because he had like any issue with the eyes. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. If you have any other question, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going with the question that I received. Uh, okay, thanks a lot. Uh, which softwares do I use to edit my pictures? Obviously, I use Lightroom and Photoshop, like Adobe softwares are what everyone is using, and I can only recommend to use them because it's only like I think $20 a month, and yeah, like you can edit the picture first in Lightroom to get the texture and the colors right, and then you can send it to Photoshop and then backward to Lightroom. I don't know, everything is like well connected together. So yeah, just use Adobe softwares. When you're printing on canvas or acrylic, did you struggle to find a place that prints with high enough quality? Actually, I was super lucky because so I do two types of prints. I do the prints that I do in shops, like the direct prints with this bad boy. And for this one, yeah, at first I struggled because I had to kind of put all the parameters right, so like I had the best quality. But for the acrylic and canvas, I don't do canvas. I tried at first, and the quality was really bad because the canvas basically, maybe you're referring to this or this, but those ones are painting. Like my father is a professional painter, so I asked him to do those. But I don't do like prints on Canva because the material of the Canva kind of pixelize the picture. It's not looking good. Like the acrylic is really what, from my point of view, at least, like give the best result. And to find the place that prints with high enough quality, very simply. So I was doing like a Euro trip back in September 2021, and I happened to be like in Frankfurt for the 30th birthday of one of my good friends, and in Frankfurt there was a gallery called Gallery Lumas, and I went to check, just like for personal interest. They were displaying like beautiful prints on the wall, like pictures, paintings, etc., etc. I was like amazed with the quality. And initially, I was supposed to work with a local suppliers that I found here, that is like 20 kilometers away from here, and that does like honestly pretty good quality. But then when I saw like the Gallery Luma, I was just shocked with their quality, and I asked them like, with who do they print? They told me White Wall, and basically White Wall is like the most expensive company in Europe for acrylic prints and all of that, but also they are the best. So I do work with them, and I'm trying to get more with my local suppliers, but I check the quality all the time because I want to make sure that it's the best. You know, aerosgraphy is something you do once probably in a lifetime. So I want to make sure that for my client, the quality is the highest. So I rather pay a little bit more my supplier, make a bit less margin, but to make sure that it's going to last like at least for their lifetime. So yeah, then IBM looks amazing. Thanks a lot. Actually, if you look, there are like three paintings. The third one's here. And then there is like this one, and this one's like one of my friends, and I've got the same in print, just right there, but you cannot see it so well from here. Um, then I had the question, when I shoot, am I using one or two flash at the same time? I am using only one, but what I usually do is that when people try, because I make people try before they buy, just to see if they are interested or not. And so I take a first picture with the left eye, then one with the right eye, so with the other flash. I show them how the pictures look like, and then if they like it, they choose which eye they wanna get, and then I take another picture, but with the opposite flash. This means that on the final picture, like I've got one picture with the flash on the left side, and the second picture with the flash on the right side. Usually, when I retake the pictures, I try to do like a both flash one after another, so like the iris kind of stay at the same place, like on the pictures, and also like the size of the pupil is almost the same. Because yeah, like with the flash, if you drag the flash, let's say 2 or 3 centimeters away from its original position, it's gonna influence a lot, like the retractation, if I can say so, of the pupil. So yeah, everything is pretty technical, but once you get your hand on it, start to make sense. Um, then questions about the business itself. I had many people ask me like, should I invest in a shop or do it at home or in a studio? And also I would add, or in a kiosk. So it's, in my opinion, a very, very important question that I think you must ask yourself upfront. Because of course, like if you take a shop, that requires an initial investment, but in my opinion, it is the best to do, because even though it is going to give you like recurring expenses and you will need to have like upfront investment, it is going to, if your shop is well located, of course, it is going to bring you like consistent traffic. And also you can put some signs outside just to say, just to tell people that they can try for free. I can show you now. The shop is closed, but you can see the sign is right here, and on it you can see try for free. So this brings a lot of traffic each day. And because now the concept of aristocracy is getting like very popular, I would say like a good half of the people who are passing by, they know what it is. And so some wants to try, some don't like it. And the other half of the people who don't know the concept, when they see the sign, they're like very intrigued and they want to try. So they come in the shop. First, I make them try, and not all the time, but very often, like they end up buying. So that is like the advantage of having a shop. If you have a studio, or if you do it in your house or apartment, you will need to think about client acquisition. If you have a physical location like me, it's very simple. Like people are just passing by, so they will see your sign, they will stop by, they will try. But if you do it at home, then you have to think, how am I gonna attract the people in my place? And that's obviously gonna be like on social medias, the website, Google Maps, all of that. And so I would say that the investment you're not going to put in the shop, you will obviously have to make it either on social media or in your time, because you will have to work way more on your Instagram, way more on your Facebook, way more on your website SEO, because you want to be like very well ranked. So when people type on Google aristocracy, boom, they find you, they contact you, and then they come in. But I think you're gonna miss out on a lot of opportunity, just like with the people passing by. Like if I check my customer file, I always write when the people buy. I ask them like, where did you find my, like, how did you find my shop? And 80% of them, they say we were just passing by. So only 20% comes from my Instagram, Facebook, Google Maps, website. That is not that much, even though I'm trying to work a lot on that. So bear this in mind. A shop is an investment, but there is a good return. And so if you do it in your apartment home, I can understand like it's less investment at first, but you will have to work way more like on the other side. And also, like I wanted to say, if you do it in a kiosk, like in a mall, there I think you will, it's gonna work like crazy. Because I've seen like once a story from iMazi in Berlin, and they had like 300 people who had their eyes photographed like in a day. That's just insane. Like I don't even do this in a month. So yeah, if you are in a kiosk and there are like way more people, and of course you can show people's their eyes way easier, and make more sales, of course. But on the same time, like I like to have my shop, to have like my kind of workplace. If there are some clients, perfect. If there is no client, perfect. Like I can do other stuff. Like I love reading. Like I read a book a week, so I always have books behind. Also, I've got like a piano. So when there is no one, here's like my place. I can do other stuff, and this is why I love a shop. If I was doing it at home or in a studio, I'm sure like I would be procrastinating, like for sure. But because I have the shop with specific hours, etc., I have to be open during the day. So I'm sure to be there. And if there is no clients, then I can just do something else. So I love the idea of having like a physical shop. And I'm sure that if I had a kiosk, I would make way more money. That's for sure, like probably twice or three times as much as what I make now. But I wouldn't have the same comfort. And I really like to have my shop. So I hope this answered the question. You took an interesting choice with your flash. Did you try other speedlight flashes? Yeah, I tried speedlight, but it was like always taking too much space, like on the iris. I guess I guess you could put like two speedlights, try with one side and then the other side, and do the same thing as what I do. But the quality wasn't as good as with the Godox. So yeah, on average, how many times would you usually have to photograph an eye to get that one super sharp image that you are happy with? Honestly, like pretty quickly, like because my system is like pre-tied. Um, like typically people enter in the shop, they ask me like a few questions. It lasts like a couple of minutes, between 1 to 5 minutes. I just tell them what the concept is about. I tell them that they can try for free, tell them that, just like showing them all the different prints that I have in the shop, and then I just tell them they can see it, try. So I take the two pictures of both eyes. It takes like 1 minute. I just show them the picture, and then if they say, okay, like we want to do a print with my girlfriend or something like that, they just say, okay, I'm going to take this one, and then I retake the pictures, and it takes, yeah, 2 minutes maximum. So yeah, do you use focus stacking or just what you take? um, Focus stacking. When you mean stacking, you mean like taking multiple pictures and stacking them on top of each other, like on Photoshop, and then like trying to get each part. Is it what you mean? Yes. Um, well, not really, because I've tried to do this, because it is true that when you photograph an iris, it's almost impossible to have the entire iris in focus, like completely sharp in one picture. It's almost, yeah, impossible. At least if the iris is taking 3/4 of the sensor. If you're, let's say, a bit farther and the iris is only taking like 1/3 of the camera sensor, yeah, like maybe you can get it like entirely in focus, but then you lose like some megapixels in the iris itself. So what I do is that I take a few ones. Sometimes what I do is that I use one flash and I will do the focus on one side of the iris. Then I will do the focus on the other side of the iris, and then I use the second flash just to get like the part of the texture that has like the flashlight from the first one. And then I just, of course, I stack like three, between 2 to 3, 4 pictures maximum. The thing is, like when you do stacking, like I don't know if you're already doing it or not, but especially with iris, like you see it, like during the edit, it leaves some, even though like you are perfectly stacking each pictures on top of each other, like perfectly, the fibers, etc., etc., there is always some parts that are going to be like slightly blurry. And yeah, it just takes a lot of time. I know that there are other people doing this, but I rather just have 2 to 3 pictures maximum that are like really good in focus than like 40 pictures, and at the end it's just like a big mess, and it's just like an arrangement, etc., etc. I'm sure I tried and it's super hard to get correct. Yeah, you see, like, no, honestly, I tried like many times, but I really, I'd rather just have like 2 to 3 pictures maximum, and usually I just have two, and honestly it's fine. So yeah, if this answers your question. um Then another question that I had was, what if someone is doing aristography in the same location as me? Well, actually, that's my case. Like, I've got someone doing it like 30 kilometers away from here, and he even opened like temporary shop like 2 streets away from mine. But apparently it didn't work so well because he's not there anymore. But I know he's still like 30 minutes away, 30 kilometers away from here. And also, like when I opened my shop in France, we were 3 or 4 shops in the entire country. And in the matter of like less than 2 years, now there is like about 100 or maybe like 150. It's like developing super, super quickly. And the thing is, like the market is big enough to have everyone in. Like my turnover hasn't gone down since there is more people. It's just like the opposite. The more shops there are doing this, the more people get to know like the concept, and the more traffic I get. So yeah, I would just say like when you launch your coffee shop, just focus a lot on your quality, your clients, and I think it just comes down to that, like what you provide to your clients. If you provide great quality, people will just talk about you to their friends, their family, and you will get some traffic like that. Just like today, like I opened just this morning because I had some clients from yesterday who wanted to pick up their print, and they were like they were so happy. They told me we're gonna tell about your shop to all of our coworkers, etc., etc. And I don't know in every place in the world, but I know that in Basque Country, where I live in here, um, it's not an independent country with France, but it is it is like we have our own language and culture, etc., etc. But here it works a lot with word of mouth. So if someone is doing good work, then everyone will refer to this person, and I think it works like that. And just having more people doing aristography is just honestly is just helping, because when I opened the shop at first, so there were like very few people in France doing this, and when people would pass by the shop, they would be like, oh, like what is this? And I had to do the pitch to explain them what it is, etc., etc., introduce the concept. Now people, because they have seen it like in Paris, Bordeaux, Toulouse, and other places, they just pass by, they recognize the concept, and they're like, oh, now we have time, we can try it. Last time we were in Paris, we didn't have time. So yeah, no, it's benefiting. And I am sure like 100% that there are some people pass by, they take my flyer, they're like, wow, this concept is super cool. So they discover with my shop, and then they go back to their city and they check on Google and they see that there is like an independent photographer or franchise in their city doing it. And so they go with that person. So I think that in some way we are all helping each others in some ways. And for sure, like the franchises who are getting very, very, very famous on social medias, famous, like, I mean, some aristography videos from Imezi and Iris Gallery, they get like more than 10 million of views just in France, on, I think it was TikTok or Instagram. That's just insane. There was like a time in August 2021 and also like last summer where like literally all the young people in here, like they heard about aristography. That was insane just with social medias. And so like I rather just let the franchise do the big marketing for us, and on our side we just focus on the client, focus on the quality, focus on the relationship with the clients, and then they will just refer to other people, and the traffic will be consistent. At least that's my strategy since the beginning, and since then it's always only working better and better. So I'll just keep doing it. I try and super out, agree, quality is everything. Yeah, honestly, that's also like a big difference with the franchise. I don't want to talk shit about the franchise, even though like if you've been in my if you have received my emails, you know what happened to me with the franchise. Like I lost a lot of money with them, because they lack integrity and didn't tell me that I wasn't going to work with them. So I was basically paying my shop for nothing. But just like about their concept, they're attracting mass people, so they get like a lot of clients. They have prices that are cheaper than mine, I think, I'm pretty sure. um, but on the same time they cannot provide the same quality, because if they have to take off one client in, let's say, 5 minutes, they will never be able to make a quality as good as me if I can take like half an hour to edit the iris of my client, because like each iris is completely like special and individual. And as I told you like earlier in the live, some iris have way more reflections than the other, so it requires more work. So yeah, sometimes you just have to work a lot on one iris. And if you are a franchise and your business model is based on mass production, then you cannot spend that much of time with one client, and that deteriorates the quality. And I think it's like super sad with aristography because we are not selling like products you would find in like a supermarket, something like this is highly personal. It's like portrait photography. So in my opinion, at least, that requires at least spending a at least a decent amount of time on the picture, making sure that it's perfect. So of course I'm also a bit perfectionist, but I know that most aristographers, I mean independent aristographers, perhaps not franchises, I don't know, but because there are more volume. But most aristographers are, of course, like taking care of details, and yeah, it's very important. We can all learn from iMazy marketing thought. Um, yeah, but honestly, like at first I was checking their Instagram, and so they got like pretty huge on TikTok, but not because of them, because of customers who were making like TikTok videos in their shop and about the concept. So what they do that is making them like very famous is that their editing on Lightroom is like very vibrant. Um, Here in the shop, like I provide for my clients two different type of editing. It's either they can choose like the natural editing, in which I kind of keep the colors and texture as they are like during the photo shoot, just I drag a bit more like the texture. But and then there is like the wow effect that kind of look more like the franchise. But the thing is, like the franchise, if you're, for example, a blue eye, they're gonna make like something crazy, like something fantastic. And so when you check the picture, like you think you have some you know, incredible like blue color in your eye or something like that, same for green, etc., etc., when it's actually not representing like the reality, but it's just like very flattering for people. So of course they put it on social medias, because they put it on social medias and they're proud of it, etc., etc., then I think this is how the trend got off the ground, because aristography has been in Europe since 2008, I think. There was someone in France doing it in the 80s, but he was doing it like professionally, not commercially. He was doing it like for himself, like taking pictures of famous people of the 20th centuries. But yeah, like there is someone from Hamburg who started like in 2005, and like look, he's been doing it for almost 20 years now, and we are only starting to hear about like aristography since like a year or two. Like how crazy is that? I think it is because iMazy, with their like crazy editing, they're just helping to popularize the concept um, through influencers and people who are just like posting videos. But then if you check their own Instagram, honestly, but that's just like my point of view. I prefer like 100% mine. I had an employee at the shop. She left like 3 weeks ago because she wants to go traveling in Australia and all of that. I 100% like respect and understand. And like we together built the Instagram of my shop, trying to make it as human as possible. So there are like many pictures of clients in my shop, like with their pictures. And as far as I know, like we were the first one to do this, like putting like our clients with their prints in their end. And I know that after that, like many franchises, etc., as have copied us. And same for the reels that we make on Instagram, etc., etc. Like like we made a few videos, and then we've been copied with like many others. So I didn't learn that much, honestly, from their marketing. What is like 100% sure is that I know that they are popularizing the concept. And so I am not concerned about this. Like I am not trying to have this role for myself in here, like trying to educate people on what aristography is. Like I know that iMazy, Iris Gallery, Aristotle, like the big brands, they are doing it for me. On my side, like I rather just focus, as I said, like on the quality, the relationship with the clients, and also like doing a marketing that is like more human. Like if you check my Instagram, I'll just put like the link in the chat. Uh, yep, there you go. If you take like our Instagram, it's like way more, I would say, not engaging, because there are not like many people answering like questions when we ask questions, etc., etc. But there are like more pictures of human. They're like it's more colorful. I don't know. I just like it better, but it is only my opinion. Then about the next question, do you need to invest in an expensive printing machine for acrylic prints? No, absolutely not. I talked about this at first in the Q&A, but I work with suppliers, so Whitewall in Germany and my local suppliers in here, but you absolutely do not invest in a printing machine, except if you want to do like a mass production for all the aristographers in your country, which I think could be like a very good business model, honestly. But yeah, I do the direct prints in the shop here with my Canon printing machine, which honestly makes really good quality. But all the rest, I just like outsource with a photo laboratory. Then question about the advertising. I don't do advertising for the shop. I do advertising for the masterclass because I want to help more people. But with the shop, I really don't need to do advertising. I have done it like a little bit at first, I think. Yeah, just to get some followers on Instagram, etc., etc. But it didn't work so well. Just my friends in here, they were just like sharing on Instagram, Facebook, etc., and that brought me like the first like 200 or 300 followers on Instagram, and then it just like grew organically with the clients and the people passing by, etc., etc., and people discovering me. But yeah, like if you have a shop, you don't really need to do advertising, or maybe it depends. It depends. I know that I don't need to do it. Oh yeah, I've done it once in a magazine, and that has brought me zero clients, and that cost me 700 euros. So yes, I've done one time advertising. Yeah, I don't recommend that. What is sure, like, is when you do advertising, you must do direct response advertising. Like for every dollar or euro that you spend, you must know exactly how much it is bringing you back. So that means that first you need to track how many clients. No, you need to track first where clients are coming from. Are they coming from your website, so the SEO? Are they coming from like the shop, like the visibility of your shop? Or word of mouth or anything else. And then once you have data from there, you can adjust like the marketing budget. So for example, if I had like 50% of my clients who were telling me that they came here because of word of mouth, then I think that all of my clients, I would ask them, please refer me to your friends and your coworkers, etc., etc. And like there is a magical power in asking people to do stuff. Like I see it like in the shop, for example, they're just like shy, etc., etc. And then I just tell like, come on, just try, like, just some few words, and then they're like in the process of trying and then potentially buying because they're discovering how their eyes look like. And so many times, like with brown eyes people, they were just like, oh no, like I got brown eyes, I don't like them, blah blah blah. And then they try and they discover that the eyes have so much texture, etc., etc. And then they're like, okay, boom, like we do it with the family or someone else. So yeah. um then I had like another question: how do you get so many good reviews on Google Maps? So yeah, if you've checked like my Instagram, my Google Maps, there is like above 150 comments and always like 5 stars. And I think it's just a matter of like being good with my clients firsthand and respecting them. like respect goes both end, but also like I make good quality for them. And the other thing is that when there are clients that I really don't feel, I do everything I can to make sure they don't buy, because I figured out that perhaps you heard about like the Pareto law, like 80-20%. And it's like, I know 100% that 20% of my clients, if I would accept them, would cause 80% of like the headache and the problems. Like, that's for sure. Like the two first months when I opened, there were some clients taking so much energy. Like for example, if they are indecisive, they want to do it but they don't really like the concept. They are mean, or they're just not respectful, etc., etc. I kind of like, now I recognize which kind of profile of people I don't want to work with. And so as soon as I enter in the shop, like with my attitude, I make sure that we don't move forward like in the process. And I'm less enthusiastic with them as with clients who are respectful, who say hello, who say, hey, can we try, etc., etc. So yeah, like I discriminate a little bit like people from the start. But this is probably why I only have like good comments, and this is why I know that 100% of my clients, they've been happy with what I've done for them. And like, if I would accept everyone, like there are some people that would, I think, bring issues. There was one like that in January 2022. Like, they choose, it was like a couple from Spain, and they bought like two small blocks. And first, like, they took honestly like an hour to decide which print to take. And then they asked me like, can we check the result? And I was like, yeah, no, I got to prepare the pictures, etc., and then it's going to be shipped to your place. Okay, I skip all the details, but they left and they came back at the shop like 4 times in the day, between the morning and the evening. And then like for a week they keep like calling me like almost every day, like asking me where are the prints, when are they coming, etc. Even though I told them it's going to be shipped to your place in 8 days, etc., etc. And when they received it, the woman was like, yeah, the color is not like the color we saw, etc., etc. They came back to the shop, they checked, etc. So that was like an experience that I had at first. Luckily, when they came to the shop and checked again the eyes and checked the print, they were happy. They were like, oh, this is similar, sorry, it was just like my perception, etc., etc. But those kind of clients, I can spot them like directly when they come now. And so yeah, you really want to avoid working with those kind of people, and prioritize people who are respectful, and yeah, who just display respect for your work and are enjoyable to provide service for. So I think that's another part of the answer. Um, Another question I got is it possible to do aristography on the go? I received this one a lot. I think it's probably linked to the digital nomad lifestyle kind of trend, etc., etc. And so first, yeah, I want to say that I think it is possible to do it aristography on the go. I've been lucky to meet like a few months ago Ivan Verzar, who is a guy from Belgium, and he has been doing aristography for 4 or 5 years now, I think. He has a shop too, highly profitable, and he told me that in winter months when there is less people, he's doing events and how do you say it? Like the French word is foire, but yeah, like when there are like huge events and gathering with many shops, etc., like temporary shops, like he's basically going to all of those. And he told me that every time he does like one event, he earns like a shit ton of money. And so, like, I think you can do this on the go, just like be invited in different places and just move around, or even like when traveling. It has to be done the right way though, because of course you need to be in a place where there is a lot of people, and also you need to work only with a photo laboratory. You cannot do like direct print, because otherwise, like, let's say if you get 30 or like 40 clients in one day, you don't have time to edit all the iris, like, for sure. So I think there is a way to do this. But once again, like I talked about client acquisition like earlier in the live, and that's something you need to think about. If you do it on the go, you need to think how you're going to get your clients. If you do only during big events, that's fine. Festivals, maybe. I was in Zigot last summer. It's a festival in Hungary, in Budapest, and there were people doing aristocracy in the festival, and I'm pretty sure that they did like really good. Everyone that I was like meeting in the festival, when they were asking me what I was doing, I was telling them I was doing aristocracy, and they said, "Oh, we actually tried it, etc., etc." So yeah, the festival gets 500,000 people in 7 days, something like that. So if you get just one percent of all those people trying, yeah, that's just insane. So definitely something possible. The masterclass is more specific to how to do it with the shop, because yeah, I mean, this is how like franchises are also making a lot of money, and this is why also I started my shop at first, because I recognize that there is like good business potential with this concept. Not just the fact that it's like a fun thing to do. I mean, it's not like the hardest work in the world, just taking pictures of people's eyes and editing them on Photoshop and Lightroom. But yeah, like if you want to do it like on the go, think about clients acquisition and how many like festivals or events you need to do each month to be like good. Um, Now I have questions about the masterclass. I received like, if I enroll in the masterclass, will I get support? Yes, absolutely. Like I am always here to answer all of your emails. Like you can send me at any time. Most of the time I answer within 24 hours. So if you get in the masterclass, no problem. And all the people in could like tell you like I'm very responsive, because during the day I'm either working for my clients at the shop, or if I'm not reading or playing piano or doing something else, then I just check my emails and I answer you if there is like any questions. Other question: if I don't like the masterclass, can I get a refund? Yes, absolutely. I offer a 14 days no question asked money back guarantee. So like I understand that not everyone has like the personal timing that matches the market timing. Like the market timing for aristocracy is clearly now like the trend is on the rise like everywhere. In France the market is way more mature, but it's starting pretty hard like in other countries like English speaking and Eastern Europe, etc., etc. So I know this time, like now is like the right time, but sometimes like personally, there are some life situation uh, that doesn't make it like a good fit to start now. So yeah, like if you enroll in the masterclass and finally you don't get the value, or it isn't like the right time for you, then of course you can get a refund. So yeah, that was it like for the question. And yeah, I think we've seen all the questions that I received by email. Would the masterclass be suitable for a kiosk business model? Yes, absolutely. The masterclass is more suited for basically, I think, for everyone who wants to do aristocracy, but more specifically if you want to do like a shop or a kiosk. Because if you want to do it on the go, then you will need to analyze a lot, as I said, like client acquisition and all of that, which is feasible, like 100%. But yeah, the kiosk is almost like the shop, I think, the business model. So definitely. Just about the kiosk, as I mentioned like earlier, if you do a kiosk, you're probably going to make way more money because it is small and there's like more traffic. But it is going to be like less enjoyable, I think, because it's less personal. There is a bit less like the kind of experience. Like I know that people when they get in my shop, it's like pretty proper because my shop is like long like that. I could show you. Um, it's like they are really immersed in the experience, and also like at the end when they get their prints, I can just take a picture of them with the prints and with the shop in the background, and sometimes I put them on Instagram in stories, but all the time I just send them the picture in airdrop, or sometimes just take the picture with their phone, and it makes like memory for them. So when they will go back home, they will be like, oh, do you remember like our travel in Bayonne and we did this art coffee stuff, etc., etc. Whether if you do it in a mall in a big city, so like here it's a pretty small city, it's like 50,000 people, but if you live like in a city that has, I don't know, 300,000 people and you do it in a mall, I cannot imagine like how much people you can get. But for sure, I think you want to have the same uh, contact with the clients and the same experience. But then all comes down to what you want for you and for your clients. Like I know I'd rather earn a bit less money, but enjoy my lifestyle and my time in the shop. But then it's just up to you. So yeah, but the masterclass is 100% suitable for kiosk as shops. Yeah. Okay. So we have covered all the questions that I received. So let me know if you have any other questions. Okay. So I'll I think that we're coming to an end. So there is only like you're like three people watching this video, but thanks a lot for staying until now. And it's the first time that I'm doing a live Q&A. I think it was interesting for you. Honestly, for me, it's also a fun thing to do and to share my experience. And if it can help a lot,